Hello, everybody. I'm Mike Edwards, the Greenfield Gunner, and I'm here at the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville, along with Blount County Sports Hall of Famer Donnie Moore, longtime sports writer Marcus Fitzsimmons, and this is the GoTeez Sports Page. March Madness is in the air, and we're going to the whistle blows. And now, let's set today's lineup card. Donnie Moore will report on the latest high school sports scores involving Blount County teams, and we'll follow up with some national sports stories. Marcus Fitzsimmons will be on board to update us on what's happening in local high school sports. Marcus will present his feature Mark It Down and the Anderson Lumber Company Player of the Week segments. Heritage Softball will be in the house along with Alcoa Soccer. I'll talk some Tennessee round ball as we break down the NCAA basketball tournament. We'll throw in some UT softball and baseball and talk some UT spring football practice. The Letter Rip segment is set to go, so let's break the huddle and dive right in. Good morning, everybody, on this Saturday morning. And, guys, if you stayed up late last night, the basketball games didn't get over till about 12:30.
Well, I didn't catch all the late ones, but I caught the one that mattered.
Yeah, I stayed up and watched.
I'm glad somebody did.
Yeah, well,
it was strange. My Paramount Plus app seemed to have somehow lost the feed for the Tennessee game. The entire main live stream disappeared off the app for the duration of the Tennessee game, and then it magically reappeared.
We didn't miss a whole lot. It wasn't close, but
No,
what kept me up
not.
late last night was Furman and Connecticut. Furman kept hanging around, you know, and they had a couple of times that they could have cut that lead down to 4 or 3 points right there toward the end of the game, but Connecticut ended up pulling it out. But what an effort by Furman last night on their part. That game didn't start till 10 o'clock. Can you imagine that? In Philadelphia, it didn't start till 10 o'clock or somewhere there around. And it was rather late. But anyway, they got rewarded with a pretty good game for the fans there that got to see it.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. Well, I've got a letter rip this morning, and gosh, I've got the pearls back in here again this morning.
The pearl. Let's do it
again.
I can't get rid of the pearls.
Let's rip these pearls.
All right. Hey, this past week, Auburn's basketball team, after feeling they were left out of the NCAA basketball tournament, decided to take a bid to the NIT tournament. The Tigers got some more bad news when player Keyshawn Murphy decided not to play in the tourney. For whatever reason, the senior forward, who was a starter, decided to show his disrespect for the Tiger program by telling no one of his decision and just did not show up for practice. What is this guy thinking? Coach Stephen Pearl's remarks regarding the situation was even more baffling. Murph has decided not to play in these games. Coach Pearl quoted, "I'm not sure why. Are you for real? A starting player for you is averaging 10 points per game, and you don't even check on to why he has decided not to play? Why didn't you just say you didn't care?" Then you follow that remark up with, "We love Murph and have a lot of love for everything he has done for us and his commitment to this program. Wish him well. Want him to still finish up academically, but I got nothing but love for Murph. He came here and wanted to try and make history for Auburn, and he's just ultimately decided not to play. I'm just going to just pour it into the guys that are here and go hoop. Coach Pearl, Keyshawn Murphy quit on your team. The school, the state, former players, the fans, and their basketball tradition. I fail to see where he needs any love from you or anybody else. He's been paid NIL money and should have finished the season. It's part of his obligation. Unless there is more to this, I see no reason why you should have shown love to this player. By the way, Murph has made history for Auburn as he is the only player who has opted out of the NIT tournament this year." Guys, I don't understand.
That's incredible.
I don't understand. Did you not love him enough to just pick up the phone and contact him and say, you know, what's going on?
Right.
Or you know, what's happening here? Or can we talk about it? Or
Sure.
I don't know. How do y'all feel about that? No comment?
Don't you have to believe that they at least tried to make contact when he didn't show up for practice?
You would think.
Nobody said anything about it.
Nope.
I mean, I don't know how soon after practice he gave the quotes, but it seems like there was ample opportunity to try to make contact. So unless he just moved out of the apartment and skipped town, being Auburn, I can understand why that might be attractive. You would think you could make contact with him in some shape, form, or fashion.
I would think.
But
If
I will say,
if it was true love, you would, wouldn't you?
when you when you match this up with what's gone on with opting out of bowl season, at the very least, whether Congress does something or not, the colleges and universities are going to have to strike a collective bargaining type arrangement here with the players so that you have contracts that say, hey, when you leave, you're not getting a full paycheck.
Right. Right.
You're going to have. There's going to be structure in there where these guys are going to lose money for making those decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's a good point because I just feel like he was obligated. He was getting the NIL money, and you need to go ahead and finish your application. He was a senior, so this was it for him. But we see it more in the bowl games in football rather than in basketball.
Well, you see it. I mean, this is a whole new realm for college athletics, and what's taken decades of structure to develop for the professional leagues. They don't have that. You don't have a lot of these guys who are working, especially for the players, especially for some of these collectives. They're not the guys who are doing the pro contracts in a lot of these cases. So there's a lot of things they're not even thinking about when they're writing some of these deals for NIL, where you should be able to say, yeah, you get if we make a postseason tournament, you get this, but if you don't play, you get nothing.
Yeah. Well, Auburn played their first game in the NIT, and they won that game. Mm-hmm. I think they're the best team in the NIT, so whether they win or not remains to be seen, or if they're still in it, because I'm all wrapped up in the NCAA tournament, and I couldn't tell you right now if the NIT has played the last couple of days or not, but they did win their first game. Let's talk about Tennessee and Miami of Ohio yesterday. Miami of Ohio came into the game with only one loss and high hopes. After winning their play-in game, so to speak, to meet Tennessee. It was billed as a game of Miami's offense versus Tennessee's defense. Tennessee's defense showed up, but Marcus, Miami of Ohio's offense did not show up.
Not the second half, anyway.
No, I credit a lot of that to Tennessee's defense.
I do too.
And how they defended the three-point line and just keeping – it wasn't Tennessee dominating the boards like we thought they might. It wasn't Tennessee. They refrained from making a catastrophic amount of turnovers. Still had too many.
Yeah, they did.
But they were able defensively to lock down and just shoot a better percentage on the other end, which is Rick Barnes' way.
Yep.
So you took a pretty potent offense and just shut it down.
Yeah. And Miami of Ohio, their whole game is to outscore you. They're not a very good. They're not a very good defensive team. I don't even know whether they had a scouting report or looked at a scouting report because nobody guarded Gillespie. I mean, really, he had good looks pretty much all night, didn't he, Donnie?
I think so too.
You would think that you would pressure him, try to keep him from getting the ball.
Yeah.
But they didn't challenge him at all. They just let him catch it, shoot it, wherever he wanted to put it up.
Yeah. And Miami, on the other hand, they went into a little hot streak right there and hit several outside shots, but they still had good looks in the second half and just didn't hit them and didn't act like they had any alternatives for that, anything to do about that.
Yeah, I don't understand on this major college level why they don't make adjustments. This has been pretty much a two-man offensive team for Tennessee. Mm-hmm. If I was coaching against Tennessee, I would triangle inside. And I'd play Gillespie and Ament. Now, last night, Ament didn't have he didn't show up either. He didn't score in the whole game. But normally, those are the two offensive players you'd have to play. If I had to, I'd recruit two football players to get on them and just keep them from getting the ball and pressure them and shutting them down. Just shutting them down, but they just let them catch the ball and pretty much do whatever they want to do. And last night at halftime, you would have thought, well, okay, play a box and one. Ament's not hurting you. Play 4 in, and that'll keep all your players on the inside right there. And play Gillespie, keep him from getting the ball, and get yourself back in the game. They come back out and didn't look like they did anything. Didn't make any adjustments at all. No adjustments whatsoever.
None.
Just let him stand out there and shoot it all he wanted to shoot it. Had 20-some at the half. Of course, he didn't score as many in the second half, but he ended up with 29 points. But, you cannot let him and Ament go into a basketball game and just let them take their shots. You gotta challenge them a little bit.
Yeah, you do.
And and last night, they got away with I thought they got away with the game. This is just how poorly Miami played it, and I know that Tennessee had a lot to do with that, but Tennessee turned the ball over 16 times, and the Mint didn't even score. And then you still win the basketball game by 22 points. Mm-hmm. If somebody was to say before the game that you're going to turn it over 16 times and the Mint's not going to score, I'd think, man, this is going to be right down to the last possession.
Vols are in trouble.
But, they just Miami, I've never seen a team, and it's amazing that they only lost one game, living and dying by the three-point shot. Mm-hmm. Hey, listen, they put three-point shots up out there, and I know a lot of them were out of the range, and Tennessee had a lot to do that, but they had nobody inside. There wasn't anybody under the basket.
Nobody.
None. It was just like, okay, if we don't hit the shot, it's over.
And I've never seen so many air balls in a basketball game.
Yeah.
Good gracious.
It was really kind of surprising. I thought they would be a lot more disciplined on their offense. Maybe set up, run the clock down, take the three-point shot. Make it a kind of a chess match game. Mm-hmm. But that's really not their style. Their style is to go out and score as many points.
Stay in there and slug it out with Tennessee.
Yeah,
and that just didn't work for them.
Shoot three-pointers, and it's better than two. And man, they're right there about midway through the first half. They just started breaking down, and they got down in double figures. They just never recovered.
No, they didn't.
They just never recovered. Marcus, they had no inside players, and I thought Tennessee's inside players made a big difference last night. Okpara and Estrella combined for 26 points, but Miami didn't match up very good against either one of those players, did they?
No, they didn't, and you could see that in some of what Tennessee did, and I think even more than that was when you look at who Miami put on the floor, they were not going very far down that bench. And this is a team that played 2 days ago. So, we talk about legs, but you also talk about tournament pacing where you don't want to wear your guys out by having them play 38, 35 minutes and things like that. They only got like 23 minutes off the bench, 40 minutes off the bench combined, I think, between three players. Where Tennessee went, I think they had 8 go in, 4 of them had significant minutes of more than 10 or more minutes. That makes a huge difference.
Yeah. It does.
Especially when you get into the second half and you're playing your first game, the other guys are playing their second game in 3 days. You got your legs and they don't at that point in the second half. And I think that showed, and I think it even hurts worse when you're a three-point shooting team because that's your shooting legs from distance. So that just played into what Tennessee was doing, which was taking a lot inside when they weren't going to Gillespie. So they were letting Gillespie tear it up from wherever he wanted and letting him open the bigs up.
Got Miami of Ohio as sort of a mid-major school here. I don't know how you all feel about the tournament so far, but I've been a little disappointed in it. You got 60-some teams in this tournament, and you've got conference champions that have been let in here. And normally in the past years, the Thursday and Friday has been the big days where people don't go to work. Right. They're looking for the upset. They're looking for the small guy. There are no small guys left on this deal. High Point upset Wisconsin, and that's pretty much it. I guess you could count VCU if you wanted to count VCU, but everybody else is there. Now, I think what's happening here in college basketball that's taken away a little bit from this tournament is the fact that these power schools have taken the players away from these other mid-majors. These kids have a good season in mid-major. What do? They jump up to the money. They jump up to another school, and I think the gap is widening, Marcus. Do you not think, or how do you feel about that?
I think it is, and I think what you're saying is happening. I think at the same time you're seeing some guys who are coming in, and we've talked about how it impacts the freshman recruiting. So you see some guys that end up in places where they don't really fit, and they leave after a year and end up transfer portal doesn't really want them, not a lot of love, and they end up stepping down to the mid-major, and then finding themselves again, and then they might be making, senior year they might do a Dalton Connect and go somewhere to a Division I. But you're also seeing some guys who were recruited for the top tier, for the Power Four, didn't fit in and are now at mid-majors. So I think there's some of that going on. And I think It's not true. It is an upset, but if you want to talk about the mid power putting a whooping down, the Georgia game, St. Louis just ran all over Georgia. That was horrendous. That
I forgot about St. Louis, but
that was an 8-9 game, but that looked horrendous for Georgia.
But that's a pretty good basketball team. You remember the coach came from Indiana State. Remember Indiana State was in the finals of the NIT. Then he left Indiana State, went to St. Louis, took all the players with him. See, so that's
right.
That's a pretty seasoned basketball team right there. But I was really surprised that they beat the hound out of Georgia. I mean, they literally beat the living tar out of them.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Well, what does this tell you, Mike, about some of these mid-majors who were touted all season long? Miami of Ohio, for example, touted all season long about how good they were and how much they deserved to be in the tournament, and then they get annihilated.
Yeah.
In the first round. I don't know what that says about them.
I don't know. Of course, they played a lot of close games.
Did
during the season, and they got beat early in the tournament. But I think they deserved to be in the NCAA tournament. They only lost one game, and they lost it.
Right. I mean, they only lost one game on the season.
Yeah, and
But who did they play? Apparently, you got to think about that too.
Yeah, I understand that. But the proof is in the second round. It's almost like all those teams that were mid-majors, so to speak, we're just happy to be there. We're just happy
sacrificed.
to be there. And you're as I've said before, this is not necessarily the best teams in America playing in this tournament.
Nope.
These are the teams that qualified to be here according to the rules. And that's what you got. And I know that plays into the scenario too.
But I'm not sure it should.
But I'm just saying, those years of Thursday and Fridays where you had the kid from Valparaiso hitting the last second shot, and I don't know if those – it looks to me like those days are just about gone.
They are this year for sure.
Some of those teams can stay with some of these schools for maybe a half or maybe a little bit into the second half.
Yeah.
But, man, you look at some of these scores, I mean 100 to 50, and, I mean, that's bad. I mean, if you get beat like that, you gotta wonder – do you really deserve to be in the tournament?
Yeah, there was a 16 versus 1 matchup yesterday, Prairie View A&M versus Florida, and Florida just beat them like a drum. It was 114 to 55.
Yes, and if you're in the national tournament, you would like to think that you're better than getting beat by 50 points, aren't you?
Yes.
I don't know.
Of course, then again, if you're the 16 and you're thinking you got Florida, I mean, everybody says, oh, yeah, we can be Cinderella and win that game. But sometimes you're looking at that and going, you know what, we're giving up 4 inches and 50 pounds on everybody on the
player,
court.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. Would it be better for maybe the way the situation is to maybe take a fewer amount in this tournament and those mid-majors have their own tournament, have their own NCAA tournament?
That's how we end up going to 96 teams, Mike. So let's avoid that at all costs.
Or you just let everybody in all the power schools in the tournament. Let the mid-majors have their tournament and go to letting everybody in the power schools play the tournament. Start with your conference championships and go on from there. I don't know.
So but here the one that kind of stuck out, and it goes down as an upset. I think a lot of people had it. Is you have what's technically a mid-major with St. Mary's, who was the better seed. They were the 7, and they get Texas A&M, and Texas A&M beats them.
Yeah.
Because Texas A&M came in as a 10 seed.
Yeah.
And then you have the situation where you've got Kentucky and Santa Clara, where Santa Clara for all practical purposes, should have won that game and should have knocked off the Blue Blood. Doesn't happen, but I think they can't. I think you can see it where they can play.
Took them to overtime, though.
I don't think you're ever going to fix the difference between a conference champion from the mid-major and a top 5 team from a power conference.
Yeah.
I agree.
Well, I want to talk about something else that's related to this tournament also is I want to talk about St. John's. St. John's was playing their best basketball. They're playing their best basketball right now.
I agree,
and they've been playing their best basketball going into the last 2 weeks of the season and on. They won the Big East. Everybody thinks of Connecticut. St. John's won the Big East regular season championship. They won the Big East tournament, and they beat Connecticut 2 out of 3 times. And what do? they give Connecticut, what, a 2 seed? And they give
they have
St.
2
John's
seed.
a 5 seed. Now, I understand that Connecticut played a lot of good schools at the start of the year, and they beat those schools. I don't
Yeah.
really have a whole big problem with that 2 seed with Connecticut if they want to give it to them. But a 5 seed for St. John's after winning the Big East in the tournament and beating the number 2
I
seed
agree.
2 out of 3 times, and you reward them with a 5 seed, and they got to play Kansas in the second round? If I was, and Rick
Tough draw.
Pitino's been real nice about the deal. He hasn't said a whole lot.
No, he hasn't.
But I'm going to defend him. That's crazy.
That's a travesty, isn't it?
That is absolute craziness right there.
But here's the carrot they've stuck in front of them. Because you really don't. They usually try to avoid this, especially when you've got a conference that's only got 1 or 2 teams getting in.
Yeah.
They're in the same bracket as UConn, so they could meet. They could get another shot at UConn in the Elite Eight for the Final Four.
Well, I don't know where the game's going to be played, but if they do meet and it's in the Garden, all my money's going on St. John's. Because I'll tell you right now, if you're not 10 up on St. John's and Madison Square Garden, you're not winning that game. And that's where UConn lost both of them, was in Madison Square
MSG,
Garden. So I don't know. Probably not going to be played there.
But I agree with you. I mean, I think when they get into that stuff with the computers, and in Tennessee's case, it's kind of the same way. They get a lot of their oomph for the tournament by the schedule Rick Barnes puts together for that pre-conference schedule. And I think that UConn does a lot of the same thing. And so it plays out for them, and it comes in as a benefit on that seed. But does it sound fair when you look at the head-to-head? No, it doesn't. It's one of those things where you're looking at the committee saying, "Why?" One's a little bit too high. You could even, if they were a 3-4, it'd make more sense.
Yeah. Well, let's just take this scenario. Tennessee's playing Virginia today. They got Virginia as a 3 seed, and I'm looking at St. John's at a 5 seed, and I'm sitting here and I'm Tennessee, and I'm going, well, if they give St. John's a 3 seed and Virginia a 5 seed, would you rather be looking at Virginia today or St. John's as a 3 seed? Well, that's a no-brainer. Yeah, you give me Virginia any day of the week.
I'll take it.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just thought it was nobody's really been able to explain it to me, but I think that was one of the things that was on my mind when they picked out the teams on selection Sunday.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Tennessee plays Virginia coming up on Sunday. And Donnie Moore, what does Virginia need to do to win this game?
Well, they need to start fast, and they need to put pressure on Tennessee's offense, because Tennessee's defense is going to put pressure on them for sure. So if they can do those 2 things, they may have a shot at winning this one.
A little different Virginia teams than we've seen in the past. They're not quite as patient as the teams at Virginia used to be. They used to run the clock.
Yeah,
and,
they did.
Like football, run the ball and run the clock and try to pull it out 58-52, 58-54, or whatever. But this team has picked it up a little bit. If I'm looking at their personnel and I'm looking at Tennessee's personnel, I'm liking Tennessee's personnel a lot better. Man
I
to
am
man.
too, and we didn't emphasize enough probably that Virginia is a 3 seed in this tournament. Tennessee's a 6.
Right.
So I mean, if you go by chalk right there, you should think that Virginia may win this game, but I'm not so sure they can.
Yeah. Well, they've got to keep Tennessee off the offensive boards.
Yes, they do.
Tennessee does an outstanding job on the offensive board, and they've got to limit their turnovers. That was another deal we didn't talk about with Miami of Ohio, but they had at the half last night, I think they had 9 turnovers, 10 turnovers,
had a ton.
That was not good for them. So Virginia will have to limit the turnovers, and they need to control the tempo of the game and force Tennessee to play from behind. Tennessee's really tough. When they get out in front of somebody and get a little bit of a lead and get some momentum and so forth, and then they've got to make some decisions defensively. How solid is the Mint, Donnie?
True.
I mean, he's been
I'm not
injured.
sure he's ready to play yet.
He had the big game there in the tournament where he got 26 or 27 when he came back and didn't do very well the next game.
Right.
And now you got a situation where, he didn't really look very, he didn't look full speed.
No, he
against
didn't.
Miami of Ohio, a team that's not very good defensively, didn't score a point.
Nope.
So you've got some
Not a
question marks, big time question marks with a Mint. And I'll just ask Marcus this: can this Tennessee team make a deep run in this tournament without a Mint being at full speed and being what he is offensively?
I don't think so. I don't think you can get out of this weekend if he doesn't have a good game against Virginia. And you may be 1-1 this tournament if he's not ready to go, because we saw it all up and down the bracket yesterday where there were teams that did not have their star player and they did not perform well. So the fact Tennessee performed well the first round without him is a tribute to Gillespie, but I don't think you can take on a Virginia and get by without having that second scorer.
Yeah.
And, if you want to make that situation even worse, if you can get by Virginia, you definitely don't match up with Iowa State or Kentucky without him.
Virginia is one of these teams, and we've seen this a little bit in the tournament, that they've struggled. And you can – and I guess you can go to the ACC, but, you got Duke, number 1 seed. They really struggled in their first game against a 16 seed.
Yeah, they did.
And there was Virginia struggling against a 14 seed. Marcus, have both these teams got that out of their system? Do you just say that was jitters, first game, didn't match up well, didn't know a whole lot about them, didn't take them as seriously as we'd like to take them, and now we're going to be looking at a different Virginia team against Tennessee than we saw against Wright State?
Well, nobody goes in believing that mid-major is going to give them any problem. And it's so hard for coaches to get that buy-in. So especially in Virginia's case, it wasn't a good matchup, but I think they were looking ahead and looking at what they could do, because you've got a road that you can think is winnable if you're Virginia, and you're looking ahead at Tennessee. And I think it's out of the system. I think this is what they're gearing for, is what comes next. So, and in Duke's case, Duke has always either just had a game like Florida did or had a closer than they should game in the first round.
Yeah. Donnie, I'll put the question to you a little bit differently. This is a game of confidence and momentum now. Virginia tested confidence-wise, just about got upset. Tennessee riding high.
Yeah, they are.
Beat a team with 1 loss. We're ready to go. Give us the next deal, and we're ready. Who's got the advantage there?
Well, I'm with you. I think Tennessee does, because of the confidence that they have in performing well against these other teams.
Yeah.
I think they did.
I've seen this with Tennessee in the tournament for several years, where we look at the bracket and we go, "Hey, it looks like we got a pretty good draw here, guys."
Yeah.
We got Miami of Ohio, and then we got Virginia, and then we're in the Sweet 16, and then we're going to draw either Kentucky or Iowa State. If we get Kentucky, they beat us twice, but it's tough to beat somebody 3 times, and we know Kentucky. We know about Kentucky, and we know they're pretty inconsistent. Iowa State's got an outstanding basketball team, but they got somebody hurt. They got one of their players hurt. Their main player's hurt. Be a little bit doubtful with them. So that's kind of looking pretty good. And then you look up there at that upper bracket. It looks pretty good. Looks pretty favorable right now. I hate to say that, because I've done it in the past, and what happens? They go out and get beat by somebody I didn't think they'd get beat by, like a Virginia. So hopefully that won't be the case here. But what does Tennessee need to do to win this game? Well, obviously Gillespie's got to have a big game, and hopefully,
he does.
I don't think a Mint can be shut out twice, but we'll see. We'll see, what happens with him. But if you have that situation, then you're going to have to get some inside production out of Okpara and Estrella. On the offside, and then your wing people are going to have to help you out a little bit with the production.
Yeah, they need more production out of their bigs. That's for certain.
On the inside, and of course, they look good against Miami of Ohio, but you can't tell a whole lot because there was such a mismatch in there.
Right.
They got to limit their turnovers, to 16, and, of course, that's always been Tennessee's game. Gillespie and the Mint with big nights, boards, and turnovers got to hit their foul shots.
Yes.
They've had trouble with that all year.
Not a great
You
free
need to
throw
keep an
shooting
eye on
team.
that in this tournament. How do they hit them? How do they go in and hit the foul shots? And how does all that play out? So we'll see.
That's right. We will.
We'll see on that.
We need to take a break here.
All right. Hey, we'll take a timeout here. And when we return, Donnie Moore will provide some high school scores in basketball and other spring sports. And we'll have some other news from around the area. And then veteran sports writer Marcus Fitzsimmons will join us with his feature Mark It Down. You're listening to the GoTeez Sports Page, Blount County Sports Voice. And now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
For over 90 years, Anderson Lumber Company in Alcoa has proudly served and supported our local communities. Locally owned, so the money made here stays here. Whether you're renovating a kitchen, bath, new floors, doors, or windows, Anderson Lumber is so much more than a lumber store and can take care of you from design to install. We welcome you to visit Anderson Lumber in Alcoa for all your home's needs, or shop over 67,000 items online at AndersonLumberCompany.com. Anderson Lumber since 1925.
Aubrey's is known for real comfort, real food, real good. But remember, Aubrey's is also really into Blount County. Aubrey's Maryville has been a strong supporter of local schools and sports programs for more than 15 years. From baseball to football, dance teams, and marching bands, Aubrey's has helped schools and youth programs generate thousands of dollars. It's easy for us to do because it's the right thing to do. So the next time you're looking to choose a place to eat, we hope you'll choose Aubrey's. Real comfort, real food, real good. See what's on the menu at aubreysrestaurants.com.
Welcome back to the GoTeez Sports Page. Donnie Moore, got some scores there?
Oh, my bad.
We've got a couple anyway. I didn't get too many yesterday. Everybody's anticipating all this spring break business, I guess. But anyway, we got some, so got you, Marcus.
Well, to be honest, a lot of folks went out of town to play.
Right.
So we don't always get those scores coming back like we do when they're playing up here. I think Game Changer may have geographic fencing on or something with some of those scores.
Anyway, let's get into our segment that we like to call the Mandy B Street Realty Local Focus. And just a personal note here: if you got any real estate needs, see Mandy B Street. She'll take care of you. All right, in the TSSAA boys basketball semifinals at Murphy Center at MTSU, affectionately known as the Glass House. Alcoa yesterday in 3A competition took care of Tullahoma 66-47. Upset, Marcus, maybe?
I wouldn't call it totally an upset. I thought Tullahoma would be a challenge for the Tornadoes. And I know it's next on your list, but it sets up a rematch with Fulton.
Mm-hmm.
And that was another surprise. I really thought Upperman was probably the best team in the bracket, and I'm a little surprised we get an East Tennessee matchup down there, but I'll be glad to see it this afternoon.
We'll take it.
I think they're tipping at 2:30 today.
2:30.
Alcoa hadn't been tested at all down there, have they?
Not really badly at all.
Is that going to be a disadvantage? It looks like Fulton's been tested. They just won
54-51 yesterday against Upperman.
Is that an advantage to them a little bit or not?
Well, could be. Yeah. Could be. Alcoa defeats Tullahoma 66-47, and like Marcus said, that sets up a matchup today against Fulton at 1:30. Is that local time, Marcus?
I think it's 1:30 Central, 2:30 Eastern.
1:30 Central, 2:30 Eastern. Yeah, okay. So we'll see how the Tornadoes can perform against their fellow East Tennessee team right there. Fulton's a good basketball team.
Well, Jody Wright's been around a little bit. He's been
sure
around the corner.
has.
He's been down there for state championship. That's another thing. You got two coaches down there with state tournament experience.
Mm-hmm.
So should be an interesting afternoon.
There was some more East Tennessee action yesterday in 4A, Class 4A, in the semis, and Memphis Bartlett comes away with the victory over Bearden, 71-61.
Yeah, we were talking about Bearden. They get down there and they have a great season and they get to the state and they just is one of those teams that's just Oak Ridge seemed to have that trouble too. They get down there.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Of course, a lot of it has to do with your draw at that state tournament.
It sure does.
Who you're paired up with early and so forth.
Yeah. Girls action is already completed, and we'll tell you just in a minute if you've been living in a cave in the last week and didn't know how that turned out. But in girls action in 4A, like I said, Sevier County, another East Tennessee team that's done well this year, especially the second part of the season. Sevier County beats Cookeville 61-43, and in Division II AA, Webb beats Lipscomb Academy out of Nashville by 48-47. So you talk about a close state championship game. There it is for you. So we'll see. Things are wrapping up in high school basketball. Moving on strongly to spring sports, and spring sports was probably one of my very favorite times of the year.
It gets warmer.
When I was working. Well, so they tell you anyway.
It's supposed to, Mike.
But I've been
You're speaking about the week where we had pollen freeze onto the table, so
Well, hopefully that's all over with.
I've been on a golf cart going back and forth watching ball games. Sometimes 4 and 5 at your place at the same time, and goodness, I can't believe how cold it was at some of those games. But it's part of it. So you expect the temperatures to drop and raise as they do here in East Tennessee. Yesterday in baseball, I've got you some games that should have happened. I have no scores in baseball. Concord
they all
Christian
got played, but scores are sporadic.
Yeah. Leesburg, Florida went to Greenback to play yesterday. That's a long commute, wasn't it? Leesburg, Florida.
Where'd they stay down there?
I don't know. They get there's a room.
I know where they ate. They
above
got that
the diner.
They got that diner down
They
there. I know
did.
where they ate, but where'd they stay?
They did a house flop with one of the East Tennessee teams who all went to Florida for spring break.
Sevier County was at Seymour in softball yesterday, and Kings Academy was at Concord Christian. So hopefully we can get some updates here. Baseball, Morristown West played at Maryville.
Is that baseball or softball?
That's
baseball, sorry.
That's baseball. Yeah, that's baseball. And some more softball scores. We've got the Heritage team over across from us right here. We'll welcome them to the show. And Heritage took care of Sequoia Thursday in a shutout, run rule win, 13-0. And then William Blunt drops one on Wednesday to Hazel Green. I hope she had some teammates with her. I don't know. Maybe she was playing by herself. But Hazel Green wins that one 10-9 on Wednesday. That's you got anything to add to this, Marcus?
Well, I was going to ask if William Blunt had Muddy Brown today, but
No, just Hazel Green.
okay.
Yes, true. On Wednesday. That's it for our Mandy B Street Realty Local Focus. Brought to you, as always, by our friends at Mandy B Street Realty. And guess what it's time to do, Marcus?
You want me to mark it down?
Here's a lateral.
Okay.
Here's a lateral. We're going to kick it to our friend and colleague, Marcus Fitzsimmons, now, and give him a chance to do his feature, Mark It Down. You're listening to WKCE 92.5 FM and 1180 AM Mid-Century Radio. Marcus?
Well, thanks, Donnie.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that. We do have special guests in the house, and you kind of teased
do.
that they were here. Lady Mountaineers are here. Coach Sherman brought in a couple players, managed to convince them that, it's the end of spring break, it's Saturday morning, why don't you get up and go hang out with the old guys on the radio show?
Yeah.
So, Coach, I know that I've always had faith that you were a good motivator, but this is a pretty good example of just how good a motivator you are.
It's not about me. It's them. Once I told them, they a little grumbling, but they showed up.
Well, we appreciate it.
We appreciate it.
So tell us who you brought with you this morning.
So on the far right, the trio of our 5 seniors, Portland Bennett, and in the middle is Alicia Bird, and then next to me is Caitlin Russell.
And so we mentioned this last week, and we started off prep report last week. We were talking about the player here on the end. That had to be one heck of a game with Eagleton last week to start spring break.
It was a battle, kind of. I don't say that we didn't expect it. We knew the pitcher Ella Borbeck would give us a good outing against us. But equally as well, we pitched well too. Alicia threw an excellent game. So yeah, it was good for us to come out with a win in a tight game like that against a pitcher that she owned us a little bit. So it was good to battle and score a couple runs late to take that win. It's
Eagleton has quickly become one more school in the county that's just an immediate rival and immediate threat every time you see them.
You're
right?
not wrong. A good arm makes a big difference. Absolutely.
But the hero of that game sitting here, and if you're looking at the side of the camera, you can see the top of her crutches. Portland, talk about that at bat. You're looking at probably the last game of your prep career, big situation, final inning, and how much pressure when you get up to the plate to swing?
Honestly, not much. I knew my teammates were going to have me whether I succeeded or not. Alicia got on before me, so, I have trust in my girls. So whether I hit the ball or not, I knew we were going to come out with a win.
But it turns into a great big moment for you guys. That turns out to be the game-winning run. Then you come in to score. And who brought you in? You want to give some credit there?
I think it was Caitlin.
Yeah.
Caitlin hit a ground ball, moved me to third. Yeah, Caitlin hit the ball.
RBI, though.
Well, yeah, she moved me to third, and then a throwing error, and I scored. So that was the end of that.
Good deal.
Yeah, and that's got to be a great feeling for that game, knowing what was coming, but knowing to go out with that win.
Yeah, very emotional game, but we made through.
So, and we'll pick on you a little bit. Is that all right?
That's fine with me.
Okay. So, for what you want to share, we're not going to say share what you don't want to. Just whatever you want to share. You had to make a decision about having surgery and calling it a season. That had to be tough.
Yeah, it was pretty tough. I grew up playing with all my, the seniors. I've played with them since middle school, so it's kind of hard. But I have a collegiate career in the fall.
At UT Martin?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so they kind of expected me to come in and play, so I think that it was a hard decision. I wanted to play, but I couldn't play through the pain, so.
Coach, do you lose a player but gain an assistant coach?
Pretty much, yeah. We had some discussions before the surgery and during this whole process that, hey, when you're out, I still want you engaged. We use a pitch caller, so we let her handle most of that when she can. So yes, yeah, assistant coach, dugout motivator, whatever it takes.
So I won't say you're trying to replace her. How do you replicate the hitting and what she brings to the team?
It just changes a lot for us. We're working through that right now. Trying to find our way on how we're going to adjust defensively and offensively. Offense is what it is. We just have to kind of change our mindset a little bit in terms of, what we want to do offensively. But defensively, it shifts some people around to maybe some unfamiliar positions or uncomfortable positions. But, get comfortable being uncomfortable. Start to figure it out. We've got till May. So we'll get there. It's just going to be a process.
Can she pinch hit?
I wish. No, can't do anything.
Well, I know she can't run, but if you had people on second and third, the game's on the line, the state tournament's on the line, there's one out, and you put her up there, and she gets a hit, ball game's over. She don't even have to run, huh?
I'd love to do that. I'd love to do that, but no, I don't think Dr. Bowden's going to clear her.
You can put that in the back pocket.
Yeah.
Need that home run in the 7th inning at state tournament. That's 6 weeks. She'll be a lot better in 6 weeks.
Let's hope.
But so I'm going to pick on our other players here. They're sitting here all happy. How great a feeling was it when Coach said, we're staying home for spring break this year? How has that been? Because you all have played a busy schedule, even though it's been a break week.
Well, last year we went to the beach for our spring break and played down at Myrtle. This year we get to stay home. We all don't get to travel or do whatever, but we like being together over spring break. And it was colder than we wanted it to be, but as long as we got to stay home, but we also got to be together as a team and play some softball.
Yeah.
Does it still make for a bonding experience just to be going to the ballpark almost every day during break?
Well, he did give us Monday off, which was really nice.
Wow, he's getting lax in his all days. I tell you what.
He did give us Monday off after that big win on Friday against Eagleton. And then we had a game cancel this past Tuesday because of rain and weather. But the last 3 days that we played, they were really good. We got to be together, hit the ball, play some more softball, and win a few games.
What about for getting ready for what's coming? Because this is a sprint. It feels like some of these seasons just stretch out. You all have a sprint. You got like 6 weeks to get from here to Murfreesboro. Is this how good did this first step go over this past week or 10 days that season's been going on?
I mean, we did okay, but I think we can improve some in some areas. But I think we had a good start, but we still have time to make go and learn new spots, like he said, since we did lose Portland. But she's still in there, and we got it, I think.
Coach, we talked about this with almost everybody that's come around because it was a realignment year. The district's changed for better or worse in some cases. It's a whole new ballgame. You can't take anything that stood up last year or 2 years ago anymore. It's a whole new setting. What does it kind of look like for you guys?
Well, for our district, of course, we stayed AAA. Alcoa moves up to AAA, and they move into our district. And they replaced Lenoir City, who moved up to 4A, back to the district we used to be in. It's fine. You know, we play Alcoa every year anyway, usually just once, but now it's going to be 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 times like we used to do with Farragut. So we're anticipating that. We're looking forward to the challenge. You know, Alcoa's got a really good program, just like us. We don't shy away from it. You know, we've already played Farragut this year. We've played some good teams. We schedule that way for a reason so that we're ready for the postseason. But, yeah, we're looking forward to the challenge. In fact, we get Alcoa this coming week, so we're excited about that opportunity.
I mean, it's nothing new. I mean, we've been talking on this show for years, maybe more than we want to admit sometimes. But Heritage has always got a county rival that's got a good program that is always sitting there, and you're always competitive with them. So it's not like having Alcoa in the district is really changing the equation at all for you guys.
Not really, no. The other night at Eagleton, I was talking to Director of Schools Justin Ridge and just looking at the alignment in the county and everybody now being in with us and Eagleton being us and Alcoa being the exception. Everybody's in different districts, so there could be 3, 4 teams from Blount County going to Murfreesboro. So that's good. That's a big statement for Blount County softball.
So what was the challenge for you with? Obviously, like I said, changes. What did you feel like you had to do this offseason to get this team ready?
We lost. We graduated 4 last year. 2 key starters defensively. Replacing third base and second base were probably paramount. We got all of our pitching back, so we felt good about how we would perform in the circle. And replacing, a couple of bats. And I feel like we're good enough there. We've got to get better. But defensively, where we've seen the biggest hit right now. And again, losing Portland, that changed that also. So really we lost 3 defensive players from last year. But figuring that out, that's been the key. So
kind of brag on the two beside you because they're kind of quiet and shy.
Nah, not really.
But you've got some key pitching here. Talk about how does that fit in as to what are you all able to bring to the circle?
It's a good mix, between these two and Peyton Hasty, a junior. They all throw a little bit different.
There was a look there. I don't know if you saw that.
That's okay. I get those too. They're a good mix, and they work well together. We feel confident any of those three in the circle. We feel like we're going to be competitive with anybody we play. And to this point, this season we have, they throw strikes for the most part, and just trusting the defense to get the outs behind them, and that's the next step for us. And it's not on them. They have that trust, and now the defense has got to do their part. The girls in the field, but yeah, they all three pitched all pitched in big games, all the way middle school, all the way up through high school. So we expect them to continue to carry us even if we don't hit.
So that puts them on the spot again.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. So we have a favorite question we love to ask pitchers, which is 7th inning, 2 outs away, you've gone the whole game. What pitcher are you going to try to go to just to get through this last batter?
I'm throwing change-ups.
Change-ups, okay.
That's my key pitch. I've got to have that one.
Got us through Creekwood last year.
Yeah, Creekwood still pitched to the whole state tournament. Probably threw about 80 of them.
Yeah.
I tell you what, beat them that day.
She remembers this.
That's right.
Very vividly.
Honestly, I'd probably say I'm throwing whatever's working best that day. 'Cause some days, it just depends.
It just depends on what's working.
Yeah.
That's not a bad way to go with it. Not forcing it. And the other thing I always like this, we can't do this with basketball players, but when we get out onto the dirt, there are so many little rituals that go on each inning. It is always fascinating for me to see what teams are doing when they come back on the field, or when some players go to bat and do these elaborate voodoo ceremonies in the dirt. What's the kind of thing you do when you go out to throw? Is there something you're doing specifically every inning?
One, I make sure I grab the ball from the circle no matter where it's at on the field to go and pitch. And after every pitch, I walk like 5 feet out of the circle, grab some dirt, shake it, and then go back to the mound.
Is that like a Maximus and Gladiator thing, smelling the dirt?
I don't smell it.
Okay. Okay.
My hands get really sweaty. I got to have dirt.
I don't think I really have anything, but except when we go back out there after we do like our warm-ups, I have to high-five everyone in the exact same way that I did every time.
Nice.
So, is this something that you develop, or do you actually have to devote practice time to? This is what we're going to do, so everybody remembers.
No, I just kind of tell them, I'm like, I'm high-fiving you. And
Okay.
you.
Okay, good. That's control. That's leadership, right?
Yes.
Coach, do they still sing like they used to, or has that gone away?
Like cheers in the dugout?
Yes.
Occasionally, yeah.
Okay.
You start the game, there's always something going on. They've got one, and then sometimes throughout the game they'll get something else. Yeah, it's a thing. It's energy.
It's energy.
I used to not like it, but I've grown accustomed to it.
Well, I always liked it when it was purposeful, but when when there was a point in time where it seemed like there were some teams that did something every inning.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Right.
And it's one thing if it's a 5-4 game. It's something else if you're down 20-0.
Right. Yeah. No. Let's just get through it.
Donnie, how much time do I have? You're giving me signals. 3 minutes.
You've got less than a minute.
Less than a minute. Okay, so we'll put Portland with the closer. How about that?
Okay.
Not like you're not used to that situation, right?
Right.
Okay, so how do you approach going through these next 6 weeks? Like, how much can you spend with the team, and how much can you spend at the team, with them at games supporting?
Oh, I'm there. I was there a day after surgery. I called pitches against Farragut, so I plan to be there as much as I can. Just be there for my girls, because that's what I would want if it was vice versa.
And then, most importantly, do you get like a freshman to help you with the crutches? Like, is there
No.
somebody that's going to be the designated Portland
Alicia.
manager? Okay, Alicia.
Yeah, she helped me today. Can't drive, so she was my chauffeur.
Well, that's an honor, right?
Yes.
Honor and privilege. Coach, thank you for getting them up this morning and bringing them in. We wish you all the best of luck in what looks to be a really exciting season.
Thank you.
We'll give you the same challenge that we give to every team. We love for teams to come back on here with trophies. So you can always win your way back on this show, especially with the district championship plaque or region championship plaque.
2 in a row, baby. Just make it 3.
We love to have those come back on because they look really good here in the center of the table. So we'll give you that invitation.
Sure.
And guys, thanks for coming in. Mike, we'll go ahead and turn the page.
Okay, Mark, it's time to turn the page. And next up is the Anderson Lumber Company Player of the Week segment. You're listening to the GoTeez Sports page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
The Roger L. Newman Company began in 1984 with a vision of providing Blount County with excellent heating and cooling service. Mr. Newman also wanted a real business. No gimmicks and no high-pressure sales. They just fix it or replace it. They want to stay within your budget and make you comfortable. Their motto still stands true today. Call us first, we'll be there. Call Roger L. Newman Company at 982-5446 or visit online at rogerlnewman.com. Cooler temperatures are approaching. Upgrade your furnace now for as little as $50 a month. For over 50 years and 3 generations, the people of Blount County have trusted Stevenson Tire with their vehicles and their families. Our mission has always been simple: to provide quality products at reasonable prices with exceptional customer service. Featuring tire products from Michelin, BF Goodrich, Uniroyal, Bridgestone, Firestone, and Yokohama, Stevenson Tire also offers alignment and brake services at affordable prices. Stevenson Tire Company, 2411 East Broadway Avenue in Maryville. Call 983-1621 or online at stevensontire.net.
Welcome back to the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards along with the rest of our broadcast crew. And now it's time for the GoTeez Sports Page Player of the Week segment featuring Daily Times senior reporter Marcus Fitzsimmons, sponsored by Anderson Lumber Company, where quality service is always a priority. Proudly serving Blount County for over 100 years. And Marcus Fitzsimmons, got some Alcoa soccer in here. Looks like they're ready to go.
Well, they are. I'm not sure I am yet, but that's okay. We'll say Alcoa soccer is here, and we will give a pass to Coach Bird. I spoke with him yesterday. For some reason, he was not willing to leave the sandy shores and drive back early to visit with us, which I don't understand.
No.
But he was kind enough to work the phone and provide us some players to talk about the season that's really just getting underway.
Good thing is he's driving and not flying, because if he was flying, it'd probably be a couple of more weeks before he got back here.
No kidding.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't ask him actually which way he was coming, so possibly he might be waiting at a TSA line until Monday to get back here.
Right.
Okay. But, Coach Birchfield, I'm going to ask you to quickly brought 2 guys in this morning, and I'm going to give the props for y'all being here because you may be the only 3 people left in Alcoa today. I think everybody else is on the way to Murfreesboro.
Yeah, I believe so.
But who'd you bring with you this morning?
So we've got Josh Troy to my left, and over on the end of the table we've got Levy Yanez.
And tell us a little bit about these guys. Where are they playing, and what is Alcoa looking for to get out of them this year?
Okay, that's a good question. So we've got Josh Troy. He's a senior this year. He's supposed to be one of our guys up top, creating opportunities in the attacking third for us, finding assists, finishing goals. Levy, he's just a sophomore coming into his 2nd season. He was actually a starter for us last year as a freshman. He is supposed to be our pivot point in the midfield. So, building the ball up, getting it from our defensive third, receiving it in the middle third, and, going forward and finding our guys up top.
So, and feel free to speak all you want about Coach Bird. He's not here, and chances are nobody will tell him about this.
Yeah.
But, you're coming off what's been a couple of really good seasons.
For sure.
Everything is kind of realigned a little bit now again. Just when you're getting comfortable, things have changed. What was the big challenge for the Tornadoes this year coming into this season and knowing looking at the landscape and what y'all need to do?
Yeah, so like you said, we're coming off of a very strong past 3 years. We lost a lot of talent last year going into this year, but at the same time we brought in a lot of talent. We have some great guys on our roster, a lot of new younger guys willing to put in the work. So I think it's really just looking at what we have this year and putting the pieces together. right? So we still want to carry the same expectations from last season to this season, but also not put unnecessary pressure on our players. So just seeing how we can work with what we have this season and make the most of it.
And Josh, I'll ask you, as a senior looking at the team, how are the pieces fitting so far? I mean, you've got 6 weeks to figure it out, but how are the pieces kind of fitting together so far?
Well, we played a couple games together. Having those preseason games, that was really helpful. But I think I'm starting to see the potential that we have. And like Houston was saying, the new guys coming in, we are really working them in, and I feel like we're working really well together. Yeah.
And do you know how many seniors are on this team? Is this a senior-heavy team?
Not really. I would say 5, 6.
It's 6 or 7.
Yeah.
So when it comes to that, it's your senior year. It's that last try. So for the seniors, does it kind of sit in your mind that, like almost every sport at Alcoa, it feels like the expectation is to at least get to state? Is that kind of what sits in your head?
Yeah, I can feel it a little bit, but I think for me, the most important thing is just helping, the underclassmen and even the juniors just find the joy in the game that I had and that I have today. So.
And Coach, just for people who are not used to soccer, at this point it should be just a regular part of the athletic program, but for some people it still hasn't clicked that it's not like lacrosse, but it's still not clicked with baseball. Yeah. So are you all on the football field? Or are you on the field over by the elementary school? Does it matter?
Man, we're all over the place.
You're all over the place.
Yeah, we take the space that we can get. We've had some issues with getting down to our actual, playing field with some of the off-season treatment that we had to do with it. So we've been practicing on the turf, but thankfully I think we're moving down to our game field this upcoming week to get prepared for the real season.
Do you all try to manage that based on some of the places you have to visit? Like if you're going to a turf facility, you try to get a practice in on the turf before you go?
Yes. Yeah, so if we know we have an upcoming game that's going to be on turf, we kind of try and, mark off some space for ourselves up at the football field. But it is the football field, but I feel like every sports team at our school, kind of finds a little quadrant up there to practice on depending on the conditions and the weather.
Okay. Levy, you ready to be picked on?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, Coach said you're in the pivot. So, basically, everything's your fault. I mean, it's all on you to get it to the right guy, right?
Yes, sir.
What is that? Kind of describe it for people because, they see it on television maybe, hopefully, every now and then. But that's kind of like being the point guard in basketball. You're the distributor. So, what do you look for? How do you tell if a guy is open, not open? There's a lot of stuff that goes on that most people probably can't maybe interpret when they see it.
Yeah, you just gotta work hard for it. Yeah. Practice and yeah.
So if you have to look, do you trust this guy to finish off?
I trust all my teammates.
Okay. How do you all feel about his ability to get you the ball?
Levy?
Yeah.
I feel great about Levy's ability. Levy's one of the players that on the field and off the field I really feel like I can trust. Yeah.
So, and that's a big part of it.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like, and I try to make it's not exact, but it's a good kind of metaphor for it. The guy that gets you the ball in basketball on a fast break that can hit you right where you need to get it to actually make it an easy layup, or he can really mess it up and make it the most difficult shot in the game. Is he good at being distributor and getting you where you need it on your foot?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I've played with ever since Levy came to the high school. We've practiced together a lot, and I've really gotten to know him. And he, and even the freshmen that are coming in this year, I feel they know that he is, one that we can depend on.
So I'm going to give you all the toughest question. You ready for this?
Uh-oh.
Okay. So I'm mentioning it to Coach to set you all up for this. When you have to make the choice, you want grass or the turf?
Grass.
Grass.
Yeah, I would say grass too.
Grass, okay. Too. So, and given the confines that Alcoa works in on its grass, do you want your field or do you want the maximum size grass that is legal out there?
I like space, so I would say like big as possible.
Yeah.
Easy to work with.
Big as possible.
Yeah, same thing with him. Yeah.
And I'm going to give you a chance to give you a shout out here. Your field is down there by the elementary school. It's kind of blocked off in the back, but your fans are pretty viciously phenomenal and supportive.
Yes,
I'll
sir.
say it that way. And you don't always get that around soccer programs, but they just love wherever you are, they're out there. Is that like a back pocket thing you can kind of count on when you come out, especially at home?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we're very blessed to have them cheering for us, even when we're down. They're on our side. So,
Sure.
And we're really lucky to have that.
Coach, for you, I've often wondered, because we can't really see the facial expressions all the way across.
Yeah.
But there are times where I've wondered if you all weren't trying to cover up smiles at some of the things that are going on the fan side of the field and some of the things that they have yelled.
Yeah, no, we definitely enjoy the support over there. We have a great environment on our home field with, the hill and everybody getting their chairs set up in the parking lot. And, when it's an important game, it's absolutely slam-packed. But, yeah, you never know what's going to be said or yelled across the field. So sometimes we have to control our reaction. But at the end of the day, it's just making sure it doesn't get out of hand.
So what's your favorite part about this team? What's been the thing that kind of makes you look forward to a practice when it comes to working with these guys?
For me personally,
Yeah.
as assistant coach, so I'm stepping into that role. I've been with the team the past 3 years, but really stepping into that role this year. For me, it's the past 2 years I was, over the JV team. So this year, all those guys I've been working with on the JV side of things are moving up as, our varsity squad this year. So that's something that I've really enjoyed watching, just kind of growing with those guys as they grow in soccer, as I grow in my coaching career, helping them at that next level, going from JV to varsity this year.
And, it's a great transition because, like you said, you saw these guys when you're with JV, you get to know them a little bit. Is it give you a little bit of a better insight when it comes to developing them now that they're on varsity and knowing what they can do and where some of the buttons are?
Yes, absolutely. I believe so. So JV is obviously the more developmental side of things, making sure that they're getting prepared for their later years in high school, and they're to that point now. So I did my best to develop their skills on the field past 2 years, but now it's time for those guys to really lock in and show up ready to compete. So kind of just tightening up those things they've been working on the past 2 years.
Guys, I want to give you a chance to do some shout-outs for some teammates here, but we're going to let you pick. We're going to let you tell us who the superlatives are on this team. So, if you have to say, who is the social media wizard of this team? Who is the guy who is going to have the best messages up and the best, funniest support for the team up?
I would say Kyron Tyson.
I'll probably say Christian Posada.
Okay, I will agree with both of those choices.
Yeah.
And I wish we had him. I wish we had Kyron here to pick on because he's always a little bit entertaining when we
Yeah,
can get
he
him in
is.
here. Plus, he relates to Donnie. Donnie was a kicker, so he gets a little bit of
Okay.
understanding there. Who is the guy that you're down to stoppage time? There's nothing left. It's a tie game. Who is the one you want to take the shot? And it can be yourself if that's the answer.
I'll just go ahead and say it's probably either one of them.
Either one of them.
Yeah. It's both of these guys over here.
Okay, let's say you can't. You got a red card. You're not out there. Who would you want to do it?
If I got a red card,
And somebody's got to take that winning shot.
Levy.
Levy. Who would
Yeah.
you want to do it?
Same thing with him.
Okay. Well, at least they're united. I like the
Yeah, they got each other's back.
Coach
here
said they
this
work
morning.
together, and they
Yep.
do. Coach, what do you can put words in Coach Bird's mouth here, but you look at what you've got the slate in front of you. Are there some key matches out there where you're going to know you think you're going to get a very good feel of where you all stack up in the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, I believe so, especially within the next 2 weeks. I mean, we've got some district matches coming up, so those will really tell us where we're at. The preseason matches, we were going up against quality teams, maybe a little bit higher level than what we are at the moment. Like I said, we're still putting the pieces together, but I think we've kind of figured out some things through the preseason matches. So these district games will really kind of tell us where we're at and what we need to work on for later on in the season.
And guys, I'll close off a little bit with this one, but Coach talked about you've got a lot of out-of-district games. You try to measure yourself against some of the bigger programs. You're not the smallest school in the county per se. That goes to Eagleton. Y'all are almost on par. But do you feel like if you can play with anybody in this county, you can play with anybody you're going to see in the district when you kind of look around? You know some of these guys from club stuff and soccer at various levels, but if you can play with the Maryville, or you can play with an Eagleton, or you can play with a Heritage, you can play with just about anybody you're going to face, right?
I would say to an extent, but, you know, every game is a different game. So I think that it really depends on, you know, how our players are feeling. And, like, especially near the beginning of the season right now, we're really working to be consistent and be able to, like you say, compete with anybody in the area.
All right, Coach, we'll close out with this, but a lot of shout-outs. It's early in the season, but there are a lot of people that play in. And I know, like I said, Coach Bird's at the beach and can't do that, but there are a lot of people around the program that support working concession stands, parking, parents, and all that. Anybody you need to give a shout-out to for what they're doing for y'all this year?
Just all the parents that show up before and after game days, all of our sponsors as well. And then, obviously, the Alcoa community. We have a great community behind us.
And, you know, we'll say that, like we said to open with, there's hardly anybody in Alcoa today. Everybody is at Murfreesboro. I'm not sure that you guys aren't just itching to get out of here to get on the road yourselves. So but we appreciate you all coming in and visiting with us. We wish you the best of luck this year. Our existing challenge is we love to have teams back, but we do prefer that they come back with region championship trophies to display because they look so good on our table here.
Yeah.
So you can always win your way back onto the show for another visit.
Yes, sir.
And Mike, we'll go ahead and turn the page.
Okay, all right. Time for a break. When we return, it's the Boyd Sports Spotlight. You're listening to the GoTeez Sports page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
For over 90 years, Anderson Lumber Company in Alcoa has proudly served and supported our local communities. Locally owned, so the money made here stays here. Whether you're renovating a kitchen, bath, new floors, doors, or windows, Anderson Lumber is so much more than a lumber store and can take care of you from design to install. We welcome you to visit Anderson Lumber in Alcoa for all your home's needs, or shop over 67,000 items online at AndersonLumberCompany.com. Anderson Lumber since 1925.
Aubrey's is known for real comfort, real food, real good. But remember, Aubrey's is also really into Blount County. Aubrey's Maryville has been a strong supporter of local schools and sports programs for more than 15 years. From baseball to football, dance teams, and marching bands, Aubrey's has helped schools and youth programs generate thousands of dollars. It's easy for us to do because it's the right thing to do. So the next time you're looking to choose a place to eat, we hope you'll choose Aubrey's. Real comfort, real food, real good. See what's on the menu at aubreysrestaurants.com.
Welcome back to the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards, and it's time for the Boyd Sports Spotlight segment with Donnie Moore. Donnie, a lot going on.
Oh, boy, isn't there, though? I mean, this is like we talked about a little while ago. This is a very exciting time of the year, sports-wise. You've got
all levels.
Yeah,
all levels.
You've
High
got
school,
worldwide events that are
Wide
happening.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's just great. I love this time of year.
Yeah.
Well, that'll segue us into our sports headlines segment, brought to you, as always, by our friends at Fast Signs. The World Baseball Classic is, thank you, Marcus. The World Baseball Classic is in the books, and the most talented roster ever put together by Team USA could not quite get it done. Venezuela outlasted the U.S. in a thrilling World Baseball Classic Championship game Tuesday in Miami. Score was 3-2. Bryce Harper tied the game with a 2-run homer in the bottom of the 8th, but Eugenio Suarez had a go-ahead double in the top of the 9th to put Venezuela ahead for good. It is Venezuela's first ever international championship in baseball.
Yeah, they got there by beating Japan, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that was
That's
kind
a
of an
statement
upset
right there.
and then they thought maybe the United States would coast on through because a lot people thought that the U.S. would be playing Japan, but I don't
Didn't
know.
happen.
I don't know, but I guess they held it against us a little bit for that invasion down there that we had, right? Huh?
Must have.
Must have had some mental aspects on the game.
Yeah. Well, Major League Baseball announced this month that Braves outfielder designated hitter Jurickson Profar failed a PED test for the second straight season and has been suspended for all 162 games of this season. Yeah, Profar tested positive for exogenous testosterone, and his suspension officially began on March the 6th. His appeal was denied a week prior to opening day, so Profar will miss the entirety of the 2026 season, including the postseason.
Let me ask you this. Can he go to Japan, play?
Probably.
Even though he's suspended here,
Probably.
could he probably go over there and play since it's a whole season?
Yeah, probably. I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know if
but
there's any rules against that or not.
I think there's some
probably some unwritten
understandings between some of the major leagues in other countries as to if you're
situation like that.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that somebody's not willing to say, you know what, nobody wrote it down. I'm going to go ahead and try to win with this.
Yeah, that's a long time, a whole year.
It sure is.
Off.
Yeah,
and
including postseason.
It's one of those things. It's really hard for a guy if he's not locked into a contract to come back from, because it's almost like you've got to win your spot back if you don't manage it right. Because you've got to find a way to stay in shape, and in game playing. I mean, it's not like you can replicate. You've lost a season. You can't replicate that experience, no matter what you do over the next year.
Yep, that's true. Well, it's a sad day. Legendary martial artist and actor Chuck Norris has died at the age of 86. After a career in the United States Air Force, Norris won numerous martial arts tournaments and was awarded Black Belt Magazine's Fighter of the Year in 1969. During the course of his long career, Norris earned black belts in Tang Soo Do, Taekwondo, Karate, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and Judo. Imagine being a black belt in all those arts right there, those martial arts. And boy, was he good. Whew, goodness.
They should give you a black belt for being able to pronounce all of them.
So the big question is, if you
work a little on those.
if you are thrown into the middle of an action movie, and you are going to be the sidekick, do you want Chuck Norris or Bear Grylls to get you through this?
Well, it depends on where it is. If there's nobody around and then you're miles away from anybody, it's going to be Bear.
Okay.
But if you got somebody to take care of, I'm going with Chuck.
Okay. I can live with that.
Oh, goodness. Former Syracuse quarterback Rex Culpepper died last weekend at the age of 28. Goodness, that's young. Culpepper appeared in 30 games for the Orange from 2017 to 2020 and died as a result of injuries suffered in a dirt bike accident on Saturday. Rest in peace. The Dolphins traded wide receiver Jalen Waddle to the Broncos this week for Denver's number 30, number 94, and number 130 picks in the first round. Got 3 first-round picks for him, giving the Fins 7 picks out of the first 100.
Maybe they'll choose smartly.
Yeah, I hope so. That's more than twice as many picks as the per-team average of 3.1 in the first round. There's a lot of first-rounders to go this year.
So that's not the first. I think that's the first 3 rounds.
First 3 rounds.
First 3. So the first 2 days. But
yeah, first couple of days. That's what it is.
But what you've given up, you need those picks.
Oh, yeah.
You really don't have a quarterback. Now you don't have a wide receiver.
No.
So
They're going to have to come up with
You're-
some good picks right
I mean, it's safe to say Miami is going to be a young team in a lot of ways come next year.
there. And if they hired a coach,
I would hope.
I hope so too. Goodness. Well, NASCAR has indefinitely suspended colleague racing driver Daniel Dye after Dye made insensitive comments about IndyCar driver David Malukas in a live stream broadcast. The comments were deemed unacceptable by both NASCAR and colleague racing. Dye was suspended immediately and must undergo sensitivity training before returning to NASCAR competition.
They jumped on that pretty quick.
They
didn't they?
sure did. There's no question about that.
Yeah. Happened down there at Nashville, or not Nashville, but the last race that they had down. Where was
Texas?
it? Phoenix.
Phoenix.
Where
Yeah,
they were.
Phoenix.
Where they,
That's where it was.
which I thought was a great idea. Where they had NASCAR and IndyCar together for that weekend. I think they're going to do more of that, and I think that's where it all took place. But
Well,
they
will
they
admit,
got on it, and
Yeah.
hopefully it's taken care of.
not going to mention what the comment
Right.
was on the air,
Right.
but it was very insensitive as far as that goes. Let's talk about some things that happened on this day in sports on March 21st. We'll start with birthdays today. Okay, 1944, happy birthday to Manny Sanguillen, the Panamanian catcher, a Major League All-Star, 1971, 72, and 75. Participated in the World Series in 71 and 79 for the Pirates. Born in Colon, Panama. 1960, birthday on this day, Ayrton Senna.
Ayrton Senna.
You know that name, don't you?
Yeah, really
Brazilian F1 Formula One driver. He was the world champion 88 and 90 and 91. So three-time world champ. Born in Sao Paulo, Brazil.
Many consider him, one of
He's
the
one of the
greatest of all
greats.
time.
Yeah.
And he was going to test for Roger Penske at Indianapolis.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, wouldn't that have been a deal where if Senna could have driven at Indianapolis in the 500.
Oh,
but
yeah.
that was in the works when all of this took place.
Oh,
But,
yeah. He's a good one. 1963, born on this day, Sean Dunston, Major League Baseball infielder for the Giants, born in Brooklyn, New York. A couple of deaths of note to speak of on this day. 2023, Willis Reed passed away.
Wow.
Hall of Fame center, NBA Most Valuable Player, Most Valuable Player 1970 and 73. He was a 7-time All-Star, played for the New York Knicks, and helped coach the New York Nets, too. Played for them for a little while.
Remember him in the series, I think the World Championship against the Lakers, where he was injured and played in the game. And he could barely hobble up and down the court.
He's limping around.
Yes, it was at Game 7.
Yes.
He played that whole game and was injured, and
did.
And they came out of it, and he had a lot to do with them winning that 7th game.
Tough guy.
Oh, he was
Tough guy.
He was hurt.
Yep. But
Persevered.
he died at the age of 80.
Wow. Man.
2025, died on this day, George Foreman.
That's Foreman.
World heavyweight champ in 73 and 74, and also in 94 and 95. He was an Olympic gold medalist in 1968, inventor and advertiser of the George Foreman Grill.
Yeah.
Died
I
at
got
the age
one
of
of those.
76. Yeah, I do too. Events that happened on this day, March 21st, 1964, the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship on this day. The final scores, it was UCLA 98, Duke 83. UCLA was 30-0 that year.
Yeah.
Undefeated.
That was getting in. Was that John Wooden one of his first years there?
I think it
might
was.
have been his first year.
It was one of, if not the first.
Yeah. It was close.
1982, Jerry Pate celebrates a golf win by jumping into the water hazard. You remember watching him do that? Oh, that's funny. 1985, Arthur Ashe nominated for the International Tennis Hall of Fame.
Getting back to what, Jerry Pate?
Jerry Pate.
Got to be careful of that now. They got alligators. In
I
some of
know,
those-
yeah.
some
You
of
don't
those
want
ponds.
you getting eaten by an alligator or bitten by a copperhead,
Yeah.
a water
Rattlesnake.
moccasin. Yeah. Woo, boy. 19. Well, let's go to the 2019. Right fielder Ichiro Suzuki finishes his career with 4,367 hits, which is a record, playing for the Seattle Mariners. Ichiro Suzuki, boy, that's somebody that you just needed one name to, and people know who you were talking about. Ichiro. Yeah. Well, that's all for this week's Sports Headlines, brought to you, as always, by Fast Signs. I'm Donnie Moore. Back at you, Gunner.
This is Mike Edwards, and I'm here with Marcus Fitzsimmons and Donnie Moore, and I want to spend a few minutes here talking about the Lady Vols. The Lady Vols finished the year at 16-13.
Could be painful, Mike.
And 44 years in a row they've been in the NCAA tournament. They were a 10th seed this year. And there's only been one other team that's entered NCAA tournament play with fewer wins at large than Tennessee, and that was Monmouth. They had 14 in 1983. 1983.
Goodness.
So Tennessee was in, and they were paired up against North Carolina State, which they'd lost to 80-77 way back in the beginning of the year. But
coached by former Maryville College coach Wes Moore, by the way.
Wes Moore, and then last night the game was close, I think at halftime, and in the second half, North Carolina State pulled away and won it 76-61. Marked the 8th straight loss for the Lady Vols, and I think somewhere in the neighborhood of 12 out of 14 maybe, or thereabouts.
You're on a slide, that's for sure.
I guess my question, and maybe, the inevitable was probably going to happen because they were going to get Michigan next.
True.
And Michigan they won their game yesterday by, 35, 40 points, quite a big spread. So, but the question is, and I'll direct it to Marcus, should Tennessee cut the losses with Kim Caldwell now and move on or not?
I think it's too soon. I think if there was a groundswell of support behind a certain coach to replace her, that might be different. But I don't have that sense from the fan base that they're demanding that yet. That said, I think her window has shortened significantly.
Her seat's getting warmer.
The grill is being lined up underneath the bench, and they are turning on the burners. Yeah. It's going to be a do or die season next year for her.
Yeah,
I think so too.
Not a pleasant situation to be in. Probably one of much loneliness, so to speak, with your head on the guillotine. But let me ask you this, and I know I've been real hard on the Pearls the last couple of weeks. But, you got Tennessee here, and they were rewarded a 10th seed in the women's tournament, based primarily on their tough schedule, but they didn't beat anybody. They had a tough schedule, but they didn't beat anybody. Auburn, on the other hand, had a similar win-loss record on the men's side. They, too, played an extremely tough schedule, but they won some of their games. But the Lady Vols were put in, but Auburn was left out. Somebody got an explanation for that or not?
It's the NCAA selection committee. Who knows?
Yeah, Marcus?
Well, I think you're not going to see as much mid-major respect on the women's side yet. There's a lot more parity among the Power Five than there ever has been. But
that's true.
the drop-off to mid-major.
I see. As far as taking up seeds.
As far as taking up seeds. I mean, there's still some automatics in there, but – and that's not to say I believe Tennessee should have been in. I was among probably the minority that didn't think they deserved to be in.
You were in the majority on the show here, but maybe the minority of everybody.
But they were
– That's possible.
Given what the teams they took out of the SEC, yes, it made sense, but it still felt like it was a pity choice that they didn't want to break Tennessee being able to say they've been in every tournament.
Yeah. Agree with you.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
I do too.
Hey, baseball. baseball Vols picked up a win against Eastern Kentucky on Tuesday, 10-3, and began a series yesterday with Missouri. And I believe this is an unranked Missouri team.
It is, pretty sure.
And they lost to Missouri at home, 8-4 yesterday, and they'll play again today and tomorrow to close that out. And guys, the Tennessee baseball team has lost 3 out of 4 to start the season in the SEC. Not the kind of start that Coach Erlander, correct, wants.
No,
Or
nobody.
the fans want.
You don't want to start 1-3. Now that said, you could be 500 by the end of the week, or the end of the weekend. But you came out of an away series at Georgia. You had a really good start with the high point on Friday, and it feels like the last 3 games have been a step backwards every time. Now that said, Tennessee you're down 8-4, but you had the bases loaded with 2 outs in the 9th inning. One swing changes the game, and we're playing extras. But that it's a great storyline. Fans love it and they're on their feet, but you don't see that delivered all that often. That's why it's special when it is.
Yeah. On the other side of the coin, it's the Lady Vols softball team.
Ooh.
And they picked up a win yesterday against number 8 Florida on the road.
Yes.
2-1, which I believe drives their record to 28-1 and 6-1 in the SEC, and a hefty number 1 ranking the nation for that. And they're getting some pitching. 2-1 yesterday down there in Florida.
Their pitching staff is loaded.
This is a big series for them, guys, huh?
It's the second of many. They were playing a ranked team last weekend as well when they picked up that first loss. So, and Tennessee's 28-1, 6-1 after yesterday in the SEC. You're playing a Florida team that's 29-2. That only had 1 loss coming into the series opener. So, the level of competition in the SEC for baseball and softball, we talk about it for football. We kind of say we're up there with the Big Ten in basketball. But when it comes to baseball and softball, I don't think anybody touches the SEC anymore.
Yeah.
Because every weekend, it seems like you're playing a top 15 team.
Right.
I want to mention their pitching. Carlin Pickens, who's a senior, number 4 nationally in ERA. Sage Margetko, number 8 nationally in ERA. And Aaron Newer, number 9 nationally in ERA.
Great.
I'm telling you right now, that's pretty solid. And to go with that, Carlin Pickens holds the NCAA record for the fastest pitch at 79.4 miles an hour. She's bested Monica Abbott, who had the previous record at 77 miles an hour.
Can you believe throwing a softball at almost 80 miles an hour?
If I was batting against her, as soon as her arm came forward, I'd be swinging the bat. Huh? Swinging the bat.
Me too.
And I wouldn't be swinging the bat hard either, because all I need to do is make contact to that ball. Yeah.
Wow.
And the thing was, last weekend, they didn't even, it was not the plan Tennessee started with, but, after she had that twinging feeling in her arm and they sat her down for a week or so, but they didn't even use her last weekend in that series till Game 3. So, and I don't think we're expecting to see her again this weekend until Game 3.
I wouldn't think
so. It's not like the Monica Abbott years where Monica came out and was the starter almost that entire season for almost every game.
No matter what.
Yeah.
Well, softball's becoming a little bit more like baseball when you've got a feast program, you're not just riding that one pitcher every game. You are trying to have 3 different arms and 3 different starters because you've got to have that to win the World Series.
Yeah,
that's true.
A couple other comments about the Lady Vol softball team. Outstanding non-conference schedule. Prepared them for a tough SEC season. Their only loss has been to Mississippi State by 1 run, and I thought it was interesting. I saw the interview after the game with Coach Karen Wheatley, and she was upset with them because she thought they didn't compete. I mean, you're 28-1, and you've lost one game by 1 run, huh? And you let them know about it.
And you're not competing.
You let them know about it. You didn't compete. That's why you got beat 1-0. But golly, I just it's going to be exciting to see how they make their run through the season. But you never can tell. Injuries could come into play and so forth and so on. But what an outstanding. Well, it's beyond a start now. They're into it. But
oh yeah.
Spring football practice has started over at Tennessee, and Marcus and Donnie, the number one priority.
Quarterback.
You got George McIntyre, Fazan Brandon, 5-star freshman, and Ryan Staub, the Colorado transfer. Is this thing wide open, or is it George McIntyre's position to lose?
It's right now. It's McIntyre's position to lose, I think.
So you're kind of dispelling maybe the competition that we're hearing all around that maybe it's his to lose.
Yeah, I think so at this point. But the coaching staff's keeping one eye on the transfer portal.
Yeah,
I guarantee it.
Yeah.
Because if somebody wanted to transfer in and take that job,
if
more power to him.
Fazan Brandon, he's a 5-star.
Yes.
If he's all he's made out to be, and he shows out that he's the guy, and he comes through as the guy, it's going to be a little bit refreshing that you've got a freshman in there that you can work with the next 3 years.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there you got him, and there you got the transfer portal guy, and you're back to George McIntyre. I don't know. I don't know where you're at. The problem's been, we've talked about this before, is the fact that they've brought in these really good quarterbacks, 5-star quarterbacks, but they've gone to the transfer portal, so they leave.
Right.
And where do you put an end to that, or do you put an end to it? I don't know.
Yeah, I still think we have that question of how much flexibility is in Josh Heupel's offense to play to the quarterback's strengths. I mean, we've seen it that, really there's been one guy who's been able to pick that system up in one spring session. Everybody else has taken at least a year of just to learn that offense well enough to run it.
Mm-hmm.
But we still don't know how much of that will play to a running quarterback, how much of that can play to a guy with a good middle touch versus a good deep touch. We really haven't seen that because we've only seen a few styles of quarterback within it, and we've also seen the shortcomings. So we don't really know what we're going to get here. I don't know that you can have a freshman come in and run the system because we've never seen it happen.
If you're looking at this, are we going to come out of spring football practice with a quarterback? Or is this going to go into the fall, this competition deal, and not knowing who's going to be the quarterback and so forth and so on? Are we going to be looking at that or not?
I think we will. I think even if they know, I don't think they'll say until fall.
I don't either.
Well, do you think that's a good thing?
I don't personally.
I mean, the team may know, but they don't want to give everybody else in the conference all summer to think about how they want to defend this guy. Right. So they're just going to they'll leave it up in the air. They're not going to close out saying this is the guy.
Okay. No, mum's the word till fall.
You can talk about the running backs. You can talk about the defensive line, the offensive line, the defensive secondary. Does this all boil down to who's the quarterback here at Tennessee and how they perform? I mean, you look at these teams that are in the playoffs. Man, they got solid quarterbacks.
They do.
All these teams that have great years, they have solid quarterbacks. Guys come back. I mean, the last couple of years, we're looking at a retool in the quarterback position.
Sure are.
And look where we've been with the retool, record-wise and so forth.
But it's no worse than we were when we knew. I mean, you went from a guy who was good, got hurt, and then you've got Bazooka Joe, who should have been able to run this offense and do what needed to be done, and that it just never happened. So, and I don't think Tennessee's ever recovered from that in a way, because it took away the selling point Josh Heupel was able to offer, because everybody else is going to say, hey, this guy was in the system for 2 years and couldn't go in there and run this thing. It's just, are you sure you really want to go in the system that complicated? I mean, they can sell against
for
him.
that. Yeah.
What's a solid year? If everybody says, you know, we need a solid year out of the football program this year. Okay, great. What's a solid year? Looking at these 3 quarterbacks, what's a solid year?
We don't know anything about them. I mean, they've not been tested yet. They haven't. You've not
That's
seen
true.
them. You've not seen them do anything in a volunteer uniform.
So what's
yet.
a solid year? 8 wins? 7 wins?
I think it's got to be 8.
9 wins?
At least 8.
With what you got here? Unproven quarterbacks.
With unproven, untested quarterbacks.
8 wins.
I think you've got to at least match where you were this year.
Yeah.
But for the administration side, but for the fan base, that's not good enough.
Oh no, absolutely not.
So
no.
If you don't want to start down the road to being Kim Caldwell, you better find a way to, if not get more than 8 wins, at least make the games exciting enough and not get blown out by anyone. Mm-hmm. And it can't be the grinding sort of thing. It's got to be, we're going deep and we're making it exciting, because fans will go with, if you keep it exciting, even if it's a loss, they're a little more tolerant than if you get into that grinded out situation where you're losing 17-14.
So you're saying, as far as the fans are concerned, if you can put the ball over the alumni stripe numerous times, they'll be satisfied. The alumni stripe, and you know where that is? End zone.
You know, it's in a way, I feel like the fan base is a lot more tolerant and towards the, we just like to see the boys hit it deep sort of thing with baseball. Mm-hmm. As long as it's exciting and they feel like you're going to throw it down the field and go for the long bomb every so often, I think they're happy.
I think so.
I really just have the feeling, as long as it's an exciting game, they're a little more tolerant. But that said, you can't go 5-7 and lose to Vanderbilt, Alabama, and Georgia.
Yeah. I think what's so discouraging is you're looking at a program here that you want back in that national playoff picture, maybe a national championship, and you look up there and you're saying, how did Indiana do that in a couple of years? And here we are in a continuous rebuild down here. I know it's tough.
Yep,
it's
sure.
But Indiana's run was so special. I'm not going to be surprised if it stands out as just one of those special championship years that's not going to be replicated. It's going to be one of those storybook.
I know, but it only took them it took a program. It took a program that hadn't done anything in their history, and it only took them 2 years with a new coach to get done what we're trying to do down here, or the Tennessee program's trying to do down here.
But it's what everybody's trying to do every year. They just managed to pull it off and get everything to break their way.
If Indiana can do it, why can't we do it? You know, what's holding us up? I don't know. Hey, time for a break, and when we return, we'll talk some more NCAA basketball. You're listening to the GoTeez Sports Page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
The Roger L. Newman Company began in 1984 with a vision of providing Blount County with excellent heating and cooling service. Mr. Newman also wanted a real business. No gimmicks and no high-pressure sales. They just fix it or replace it. They want to stay within your budget and make you comfortable. Their motto still stands true today. Call us first, we'll be there. Call Roger L. Newman Company at 982-5446 or visit online at rogerlnewman.com. Cooler temperatures are approaching. Upgrade your furnace now for as little as $50 a month. For over 50 years and 3 generations, the people of Blount County have trusted Stevenson Tire with their vehicles and their families. Our mission has always been simple: to provide quality products at reasonable prices with exceptional customer service. Featuring tire products from Michelin, BF Goodrich, Uniroyal, Bridgestone, Firestone, and Yokohama, Stevenson Tire also offers alignment and brake services at affordable prices. Stevenson Tire Company, 2411 East Broadway Avenue in Maryville. Call 983-1621 or online at stevensontire.com.
Welcome back to the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards, the Greenfield Gunner, and I'm here with Donnie Moore and Marcus Fitzsimmons. And I wanted to mention that Caleb Giroux's not here this morning because Marcus, he's up there. Well, he's probably not up there now, but he was up there to the Lady Vol game last night covering that.
I suspect he is on the road on the way back to Knoxville. Filed a great story last night about the Lady Vols loss, worth the read this morning. Not in the Saturday paper, but it is online. It'll be in Sunday paper. But yeah, he made the trip. Road warrior that he is. I give him all.
He's a man among men.
I give him all the props.
They go all the way up there to see the Lady Vols.
And sleep on the floor in a hotel room.
20-somethings can do that and enjoy it, and I can't say I missed that one bit.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the NCAA tournament here with the SEC team. 10 teams in, and we've talked all year long how we thought that this conference was maybe the best conference in the country, and only 2 teams got knocked out in that first round. 8-seeded Georgia and 10th seeded Missouri. Georgia was taken care of pretty handily. Missouri fought pretty hard last night and lost it pretty much down the stretch. But Texas A&M went in as a 10 seed, and Texas went in at 11 seed. And boy, they're still alive. So 8 teams, Marcus, still in there in this second round. So what's your prediction on 8 and how many will come out of the second round?
I like that 8 made it. I mean, that wasn't a guarantee. I mean, it took some upsets. I think if you get – I really hate to say it, I think you're going to lose half of them before we get to weekend 2. I think we're only going to have 4 in the Sweet 16.
Okay. That being said, Florida, Arkansas, Tennessee. Who's your other one?
I don't know that Tennessee gets there past Virginia.
Yeah, I like them.
I mean, I know, well, you do, and I think there are going to be some things along the way. I don't want Tennessee to be one of those casualties, but I think it's entirely possible. I'm not sure Arkansas is a given.
They're playing High Point.
As well as High Point played.
Oh, my goodness.
That could be a really fun game. It could also be a terrible game.
Get some cold water and throw on him, huh?
But, you know.
He's too hot to touch.
I mean, if I'm Houston, I'm not real comfortable playing A&M.
You're not?
No, I'm really not.
Okay.
I think I think Florida's a given.
Yeah, Florida's in.
I think Vanderbilt is in.
You think so? You think Vanderbilt will beat Nebraska? Nebraska's a pretty tough team. Solid. They were solid.
They are, but I just have that feeling.
All right.
What about Kentucky? I think somewhere between that mix between Kentucky, Tennessee, Alabama, you're going to get 1 or 2.
Okay. So you don't have 4 definites. You just got.
I'm just Florida. Okay. I have as a definite. I have a good feeling about 2, and I think you're going to get another one in there. I just don't think you're going to see some of them. Like I said, High Point I think is a trouble spot. I don't think Texas has enough for Gonzaga. I'm not sure how Kentucky or Tennessee are going to stack up with their opponents. I think you could see it's possible you could have 8, but I just don't see it.
Okay, looking at that 8 right there, whittling it down to 4. So who's got the best shot out of that 4 to make it to the Elite 8 or the Final 4? I'm going to say Florida.
I'm going to say Florida as well.
I like Florida.
I can't argue
they're
that.
playing they're playing tough right now.
They're good basketball.
Yeah,
team.
buddy. And they got that wake-up call against Vanderbilt in the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that. You know, they're not going in there. They got brought back down to reality. So,
but the thing is, if this were to work out like I think it might, you could have Florida and Vanderbilt playing next week.
That's a real possibility.
That's a Sweet 16 possibility.
Florida's got Iowa today, and Vanderbilt's got Nebraska. So, you know, next week you could be looking at a Florida-Vanderbilt matchup.
That could be 2 wins right there today.
Yeah.
So if you – I mean, tell me, is it a good thing or a bad thing? But if we get to the Sweet 16 and we have Florida playing Vanderbilt in one quad and we have Kentucky playing Tennessee in another quad, is that a good thing to have 4 SEC teams beating up on each other in the Sweet 16? Would that be a signal of strength, or is that
well, you're insured of somebody moving on.
yeah.
I mean, yeah,
Right.
you're going to have somebody
Going to
moving
the next
on.
round
but
anyway. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you go have somebody.
the thing with
trying to move
having
on.
this many teams in the field is you're going to have you put yourself in the position to create your own casualties.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm liking 4 to move on. I'm like you. I think half will probably move on. The other
think so,
half,
too.
not so sure of. The ACC had 8 teams in. Golly, you got Duke and you got Miami. You got anybody else? Virginia. You got 3 out of that 8 left. North Carolina's gone, and I think that's pretty much it. Marcus, the ACC has struggled.
Oh, Louisville.
Yeah,
Right.
Louisville's,
That's right.
Louisville's still in.
That's right. Well, they've lost half of theirs in the first round, and it could get worse here this weekend. By the end of the weekend, it could get worse.
It sure could.
So, what do you think? Duke didn't look real impressive.
They weren't. No, they were not impressive.
They've got a TCU team, and then they're going to have to meet the winner of St. John's and Kansas. I tell you what, if St. John's can get by Kansas, that Duke St. John's matchup, if that materialized,
that would be terrific.
I would like to see that. I would like to see that matchup.
Mhm.
I really would. And in years past, I've liked St. John's, and they've stubbed their toe. But like I said early in the show, I think they got a tough seed. But that's a tough bracket right there. Looking at that bracket, Marcus, you got Duke, you got St. John's, you got Kansas left, you got Michigan State, and you got UConn, all up there in that East bracket. That's tough, isn't it? That's a tough bracket.
It really is. I mean, none of them are easy when you think
No.
they can look as tough or as easy as you want them to, just depending on where your preferences are.
Yeah, I look at the South bracket. You got Florida in there, and you got Houston.
Both good basketball
Good,
teams.
yeah, great basketball teams. But
Those two,
But
yeah.
I don't think it compares to that East bracket right now. And then over in the West, you got Arizona, and you got Gonzaga, who wasn't really very impressive in their first round game, and you got Purdue that's kind of been struggling. They took care of business against Queens, but they've had a tough time. I don't think that bracket looks as good as the East. Do you, Marcus, or not? I don't think.
Well, from the point of being possibly exciting, I do. But as far as challenging, no.
No.
But I think you could see some really good games out of there.
Yeah, and then you look at the Tennessee bracket, the Midwest. You got Michigan, who's played. They've been tough all year long.
They have.
They lost their Big Ten tournament to Purdue. Maybe that's a wake-up call for them, but they've been strong all year long. And Marcus likes St. Louis. I like St. Louis too. I think this is going to be a good game against Michigan and St. Louis. And then you got Texas Tech and Alabama. You got Tennessee, Virginia. You got Kentucky, and you got Iowa State. As far as Tennessee goes, I like that bracket.
But you mentioned
Do you see another bracket you'd rather have Tennessee in?
No, but you mentioned if you watched the late game last night with St. Louis and Georgia, I had to look it up because I was just curious what was a Billiken, because it looked like St. Louis it looked like they raided your gym in 1970 and put new letters on, Mike. Those were some ugly uniforms. But I had to look up, what is a Billiken? It is a mythical, grinning, good-luck figure created in 1908 by a Missouri art teacher who wanted it to represent the god of things as they ought to be.
Could I get
So if you want to think about what you want for your team to be a Cinderella, I guess you go with the Billiken, because they played like they were supposed to. They ought to be able to play with and be better than an SEC team.
Yeah.
Now, whether they can do that against a Big Ten team like Michigan, I don't know.
Yeah. We don't have everybody's picks here, and I know we're running short of time, but I want to get some picks here. Tennessee and Virginia. Donnie, who you like?
I think Tennessee's going to play better in this game and more consistently. So I'm going to pick the Vols.
I'm taking the Cavs. I don't think we have the firepower.
Oh man,
I think we've got more injuries than we know about.
I'm going to take Tennessee, although I am very worried about the Ament situation, and they're going to have to. But I like our inside play right now. It's coming around. The board plays strong. We're starting to get some scoring in there. Gillespie's got to have a big game. Boswell got to have a big game from the outside.
Yep.
I like Tennessee against Virginia. I think we got better personnel than Virginia. I think we're more athletic in Virginia. I think we can take care of them. Now, if we do get by Virginia and we get Kentucky and Iowa State, it gets tougher.
Yeah, it does.
Who would you like there, Marcus?
Oh, I want a third shot at Kentucky if we're going to go mythical.
Let's say we play Kentucky. Who you like?
I think Tennessee would get Kentucky a third try.
I'm thinking if we play Kentucky, I'm thinking like you. You can't beat a good team 3 times.
I agree with you.
So
I think if we get Kentucky for a third time, I'm going to take the Vols in this one.
Too.
If we get Iowa State, now listen, they've got the player hurt. Joshua Jefferson sprained ankle. As of this morning, his status is unknown. So I mean, he's going to have a few days to rest. I mean, before he would play Tennessee, rehab. I don't feel as good. Well, I'm going to Iowa State, Tennessee or Iowa State.
If we play Iowa State, I'm thinking the Vols have learned a lot in their first round game. I think they're going to win it.
You're putting them in the Elite Eight.
I am.
You've already got them out.
I've already got them out, and I think the Cyclones would definitely put them out.
I like Iowa State.
I think Iowa State would pick up their second win over a Tennessee school in this tournament because they beat Tennessee State in the first round.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you right there.
I wasn't saying
hey, it's going to be exciting. Guys, it's been fun being with you this morning.
It has. Thank you. Thank you. Sure has.
Had a couple of good high school groups in here this morning, and it's been a lot of fun. So blow that whistle.
You got it.
All right. Hey, that'll do it for today's edition of the GoTeez Sports
that's
Page.
The final whistle. Join us again next Saturday.
Sorry, go ahead,
for the
Mike.
GoTeez Sport.
Now, go ahead.
That'll do it for today's edition of the GoTeez Sports Page. Thanks to Aaron Ishmael back at Loud Media, our host, the Bluetick Tavern, and all our sponsors. For Donnie Moore and Marcus Fitzsimmons, until next Saturday, this is Mike Edwards, the Greenfield Gunner, wishing everyone good sports.
Good sports.
Page, the best in local sports since 1978.